friends, we're going to be talking about magic today, and I just discovered a brand new fairy tale that I had never read before. This one's from Japan, and I just thought it was interesting, and it's magical, and I think you will like it, so that's why I chose this one today. So it's called The Crane's Gratitude, and a crane is a bird. All right, so let's read The Crane's Gratitude, and it's from Japan. I don't know who the author is, though, but maybe it's just a story that's like most fairy tales have been passed down through years and years and years and retold and retold. All right, so here we go. A long time ago, in a little house deep in the mountains, there lived an old man and an old woman. They shared a life together that was simple and nothing out of the ordinary, really, except maybe that it was more quiet than average because the couple did not have any children. One cold winter day, the old man was out collecting wood for the fire when he heard a strange noise. He looked around until he spotted a large bird in the distance. He slowly approached the bird, realizing that it was a beautiful crane tangled in some bushes, struggling to free itself. The closer he came, the more the crane struggled to get away. "Shh, I'm not going to hurt you," the old man said gently to the bird. Its long, graceful neck was twisted at such an angle that the bird could barely even open its beak. The old man carefully broke away twigs and branches to make room to sit. Once the old man had released the crane and it got back on its feet, it looked for a moment into the man's kind eyes and then flew off into the sky. That night, as the wind howled and the snow fell, the old couple heard knocking at their door, which was more than a little unusual. Nobody ever came to visit, most especially so late at night and in such a bitter weather. Much to their surprise, shivering outside was a young girl, no more than 12. "Oh my," said the old man, "come inside, you must be freezing out there." The girl looked at him with round, moist eyes, and he noticed how gravely beautiful she was, with skin as white as the snow whirling all around her. Wordlessly, she stepped into the house and sat down by the fire. When her teeth finally stopped chattering, she asked if she could live with them. "I have no family," she said, her voice crisp. "I have no friends. I have nowhere else to go." The old man and the old woman looked at each other, marveling how anyone so young could have already had such harsh luck in life. "I can help around the house," she said to them, "and I promise I will work hard." The old man felt sorry for the girl. "Please stay," he said. Days quickly turned into weeks, which turned into months and then years. Eventually, the couple began to think the young girl as their daughter. One particularly tough winter, the old man worried that their money and food supplies were running dangerously low. He decided to tell his wife, but he didn't want the young girl to overhear him. Even though she was now 16, the old man wanted her to have a life free from worry. But the young girl could sense something was wrong, and she quickly discovered the truth. Without hesitating, she decided to help. "I will weave some cloth for you that you can sell in the village." The old man brightened at the idea. The old woman looked puzzled. How was it that they didn't know their daughter could weave? "There's just one thing," the girl said to the old couple. "You must not look at me while I'm weaving." The couple thought the girl's request was a little odd, but they promised not to look into the room where she worked. That very same night, the young girl began to work. She wove all night and well into the next morning. When she came out of the room at long last, she gave the couple a large bundle of the most beautiful cloth they had ever seen. The old man carried the cloth down into the valley and sold it for a lot of money, which he used to buy enough food for 1 month. The time came when snow should have melted and spring should have arrived, but the snowflakes still fell and the cold winds blew. Eventually, the little family ran out of food again. As before, the young girl saw that they would starve if she didn't do something, so she went into a room one night to make more cloth, but not before making the old couple promise not to look in on her. All night and well into the next morning she worked as before, the clacking sound of the loom echoing throughout the house. In the early hours before dawn, the old woman woke up to the sound of the loom and heard a voice crying. She woke the old man, and the two of them went to see if their daughter was all right. The old man pressed an ear against the door. "But we promised not to look in," he said, hesitating. "But what is that sound?" the old woman said, frowning. "We can't just pretend we don't hear it." The old man put his hand on the door once again and looked at the old woman uncertainly. The old woman nodded. "Well, go ahead." He pushed the door open a crack and peeked in. Then suddenly he took a step back and gasped. "What is it?" the old woman said. She pushed him aside and peeked into the room herself. "Oh my!" she cried in surprise. In the room was a crane plucking out its own feathers, which it would weave into a beautiful piece of cloth. The old woman threw open the door, startling the large bird. Then, in the blink of an eye, the bird began to change form, suddenly becoming the young girl. She now sat before the old couple with her hands folded in her lap, her eyes fixed on them. The old man stuttered as he tried to explain why they had burst in on her, but the young stopped him. "Please," she said, holding up a hand to stop him from speaking, "I understand." "We are so very sorry," said the old man. "We have not kept our promise to you." The young girl looked down into her lap. "I am the crane you saved many years ago," she said, "and I came to help you because you were so kind to me. I've made more cloth for you, which will bring you enough money to survive the rest of the winter. But now that you've seen my true form, I can no longer stay with you." Then the girl stepped out into the fresh morning air, changed back into a crane, and flew off into the changing colors of dawn. The sun's warm glow radiated brilliantly against the snow as the old man and the old woman watched this magical creature, their beloved daughter, fly away from them. True, they were alone once again, but they would never be lonely. They would always remember and love the young girl who had warmed their hearts. Oh, wasn't that a nice story? So again, that story is The Crane's Gratitude, and it's from Japan. So I hope you enjoyed it. There was a lot of magic in there. Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. We're going to be talking about magic later. All right, thank you for reading The Crane's Gratitude with me. Bye-bye.